Let's do some Watch This, boys. Now, everybody, before you pause the show and listen and go and run and to watch what we're talking about, just wait 30 seconds to see if we like it or not.
Ooh, that's a good tip.
Yeah, pro tip. It's a whole fun way to maybe consume television. You wait, you see what we're watching, then you go watch it, and then you come back to see if you agree with our assessment. Anyway, we've all watched Shang Chi now. Is that correct?
Sean.
That was a funny. That was a funny part of the movie. There's a lot of funny parts.
Sean.
I liked it.
Good job, Aquafina.
She was funny.
She was funny.
She's generally funny.
She is funny. Maybe a little too much.
I really like that movie. I like it a lot. I don't know what do you want me to say? It's a good Marvel movie. I like the scene.
I would say it was a good kung fu movie.
Yes.
And the Marvel stuff got in the way a little bit, but luckily there wasn't that. You can tell like the Marvel stuff like sticks out. Like
I think it's a middle of the road Marvel movie that I wanted to like more than I do.
I think that's fair too. I don't think there are any wrong opinions on this. I like Act 1 and 2 a lot. I think Act 3 kind of falls apart.
You like bus fight and scaffolding fight.
I like bus fight. I like scaffolding. I like
kung fu movies.
I like underground.
We can't spoil
kung
this,
fu thing. I like all of that.
No spoilers here. We're not going to spoil anything.
Right.
Act 3 surprise.
It's the Marvel part. Act 3 is the Marvel part.
I know. I'm like, maybe.
Do you know how you know when the Marvel part starts?
When they put on a costume.
Little before that, I believe. I think I'm not 100% sure on the timeline. Just there's some parts of it that just like scream like, oh, it's not really just like a kung fu movie. Maybe like when they get in the BMW and they're driving around in the BMW, like clearly like the product placement BMW, like for like 10 minutes.
There's like 7 of them in this movie.
There's a lot. Yeah. It's a little like too much lingering in the product.
Where my wife, who does not care or notice these things, actually said while we were watching it, how much did BMW pay for this? So that's how you know when it's too much.
You know what they usually don't have in kung fu movies?
BMWs?
Bing, bing, points
I bet
to
Jackie Chan can afford a BMW or 2 or 12.
Like the main difference is like in the Jackie Chan movie when there's the fight on the bus and the bus is like crashing into things, they're not pancaking McLarens and Aston Martins like in this movie. They're like just nondescript cars that you know maybe cars that you've never seen before in your life.
Yeah,
but these
Can
are
we talk about this movie more at the end? Maybe do we want to talk about this at the end?
Why? Like as a spoiler? Do a spoiler?
As a spoiler.
Okay,
I don't think we need to do a full-on spoiler thing. It's just
because it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. No, it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I just think that the end is
not great.
The end is not great.
Also, a lot of it's Cheapy's like age-old adage about don't think about it too much, because like once I started thinking about this movie after I watched it, there's just so much that it's like that was really dumb.
Just think about the punching,
really
punching parts and the kicking parts.
The punching parts are fine. They have to like. The reason why this is interesting is because I know he's going to go hang out with people that I care about in the Marvel universe.
Well, I mean, we talked about this offline. Is Shang Chi in the comic books is always a welcome surprise in someone else's comic book, but I've never really sought out reading Shang-Chi comics. Like when he shows up in SpiderMan, it's like, oh, Spider-Man and Shang-Chi, this is going to be cool. And then Shang-Chi tries to teach Spider-Man how to use the spider sense better, and Spider-Man learns something, and it's like, oh, Shang-Chi is awesome because he could teach Spider-Man how to use spider sense, but no one else could do that.
Now let's go see Spider-Man do that.
And now let's go see Spider-Man. Exactly. No, like there was was it maybe 2 years ago at this point, there was a Domino miniseries where she needed to like, she was in Madripoor, of course, and she runs into Shang-Chi who teaches her Kung Fu. And, they wind up sleeping together, and it's like it was a cool little thing, but it was still a Domino comic. It's like, oh, look how cool Shang-Chi is in this, but it's still not his comic.
It was really nice to see a big budget Kung Fu movie, because usually the best ones the ones from like the late 90s, early 2000s, the Hong Kong ones. They're not obviously on Hollywood budgets. The fighting is awesome, but they're wearing wires and they're being pulled from the ceiling, and they're it's not perfect. And even like the late the more modern ones, the ones that actually try to use CG, it's never quite right. They don't quite have the money, so it looks all a little fucked up. But this looked perfect. Like everything in terms of like the fighting looked perfect. And
that fight on the bus is all time. That's an all-time movie fight.
It's great.
That's
and
great.
They had the scaffolding trope scene that's in every kung fu movie, but it looked really cool. And it was just really nice to see.
This movie is a better version of the Snake Eyes movie.
Oh, it is. No, 100%.
It's like almost note for note the same as the Snake Eyes movie,
but without the problems of the Snake Eyes movie.
Correct. It's like, oh, you guys, like if you looked at things like, oh, you guys made the same movie, but they made it a better version of it. Like it's but it's like note for note, just about exactly the same.
But you're rooting for the main character in Shang-Chi.
A little bit. Like not completely.
You didn't like him?
Well, they gave him a bit of they gave him a little bit of an edge there, but you're still rooting for him. You're not like, I can't like this guy.
Shipwreck was rooting for the BMW.
And they also, at least in Shang-Chi, give the character enough of a backstory where it makes sense why he might have done things that you may not agree with from a moral standpoint.
Sure.
They developed that character significantly better than they did Snake Eyes, where it's like,
I'm not going to argue that this isn't a much better movie than Snake Eyes.
I know. I'm just saying, it's just it's just amazing how you could watch two movies that that came out around the same time
and they're nearly the same plot. Like they're nearly the same plot
and supposed to be going up head to head to each other. And there was some sort of media about that is, ooh, which one's gonna be the better movie? And Snake Eyes, it's like it jumps from, what is he, like 9 years old to 30 years old with nothing in between and no explanation of how he got there or literally anything.
Sure.
Who raised him? Where was he raised?
Too much Snake Eyes talk. Too much Snake Eyes talk.
Oh my God. I could talk about that movie for the rest of my life because it is
do a spin-off
so bad.
podcast.
It's so
10 episode run, limited
production
run.
wise, it's perfectly acceptable.
This one.
Like it's Snake Eyes.
Oh, Snake Eyes.
Like movie, like it has all the right stuff. Like if you were to like piece in all the stuff from a Marvel movie, it's like, yeah, it's all there. It's just not executed.
It's just anyway.
Yeah. So Shang-Chi, I hope to like that characters better as it get to a story that I think matters. This suffers from the thing of, okay, well, where are all the people that we know are super powerful while this
they wouldn't have known
thing has happened.
They wouldn't have known about the super bad thing in the third act, to be fair.
They should know though.
They should.
Shipwreck's
and I can hear my son screaming in the background, by the way.
Me too.
Yeah.
Shipwreck 3.
Yeah.
I saw another movie that's a pretty new movie called The Green Knight, which is an Arthurian legend. It's an A24 movie, so that means it's going to be funky. It's like, they're an independent production.
I know what
they're pretty good. We really liked it. If you liked Excalibur, it's got similar vibes to Excalibur, except it's a much smaller movie and there's less stuff going on, but it does have that same like confusing situations going on. It's very mystical and you're supposed to be a little confused about what's going on. But we really liked it. I think you still have to rent it. I don't think it's available for free yet, but that's The Green Knight. We watched that actually like 2 weeks ago. I forgot to mention it last time.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are we sticking to the color theme?
Yes.
Sure. I saw a movie with a color in it.
What did you see?
I saw Clifford the Big Red Dog.
And how is Clifford the Big Red Dog?
It's perfectly acceptable for a kid's movie.
Is it cute? It looks like it would just be cute.
It's cute. It's one of those things where you look at the Rotten Tomatoes and Rotten Tomatoes is like 30%, but then all the audience score is like 85 or 90%, right? Because it's all people who are looking for something to watch with their kids. And it's like it extremes up Clifford some, right? Like Clifford is kind of like the saccharine nothing of the story where nothing ever happens in the books. He's like the Thomas the tank engine or whatever.
Nothing ever happens except he's big.
Yeah, it's like everybody loves each other, like nothing really
It's
goes
not like that
wrong.
asshole Curious George.
Right. Curious George has an edge to him, right?
He was always fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Seriously. Oh, you want to go to the zoo? Not so fast. Curious George ate a goddamn puzzle piece. What the fuck is wrong with you, Curious George?
Right. Clifford just like knocks something over and they just like fix it.
And everybody's like, oh, that's all right.
Oh,
Right,
we gotta go to the goddamn hospital now. The stupid monkey ate a puzzle piece.
So imagine just fart jokes everywhere, basically, in Clifford. Like
Nice.
that's how they edged him up.
Nice.
Was butthole jokes.
I'm guessing that's very similar to the other Red movie that's on this list.
The one that I watched. Yes, I watched Red Notice on Netflix, which I
Oh.
believe is the biggest movie in the world,
Ever.
right? Ever.
Yeah.
That is the movie that stars The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot.
A lot of fart jokes.
There probably is a fart joke in that movie somewhere. I watched it with my son. He thought it was amazing. So if you're looking for what this movie is, it's the kind of movie a 10-year-old would find amazing.
I saw Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds in the movie. And then
Yeah.
I was like, yep, he's the same character he's always playing. I think
If
I've
you
seen
like
this before.
if you like Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds and The Rock being The Rock,
Right. Does his eyebrow go up at some point?
oh, his eyebrow goes up and so they fight. There's fighting.
Big muscles.
Muscles.
Hmm.
There are jokes about, but he's so big, and it's like, if I, big guy jokes, and it is also the second movie I've seen this year where people escape out of a Russian gulag on a mountaintop for no reason.
Black Widow.
Yes, it's basically that same scene again.
I haven't seen that movie yet.
Spoiler, there's a dumb
Oh.
scene with a Russian prison.
Both Black Widow and Red Notice have the same prison escape scene. Like it's literally almost note for note, which is weird.
You got a deal on the location.
It's very strange. But I saw
Which
Red
one
Notice.
is the Snake Eyes of this version?
What, a Red Notice?
Of Red Notice versus the Black Widow.
It's The Rock is the Snake Eyes of Red Notice. So yeah. They're hunting down Cleopatra's eggs.
Can't watch it.
Cleopatra's famous golden eggs.
Like the eggs that she produces?
And
Her ovaries?
that would make, that would be such a better movie.
Is this a Serpentor movie again?
If this was, first of all, our Serpentor movie would be amazing. But second of all, Red Notice would have been such a better movie if they were actually tracking down these eggs because they contained her DNA to make like a Cleopatra baby.
Why would it
my
be any
God.
different? Wouldn't it be the
this
same
is a pretty good
jokes?
movie, I think.
I like this movie so much better. Ryan Reynolds wants to make a Cleopatra baby, but not if Gal Gadot has her way. Only one person can make and raise the perfect Cleopatra clone. Who will it be? The Rock, Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds? Tune into Netflix this fall and find out.
Nope. I'm not even going to watch this movie, the real one.
No, the real one's just
I don't even know what this
dumb.
movie's about. Like I feel like
okay.
this
So
movie is
Ryan
about having
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, and The Rock in it. That's how this has been presented
Yes.
to me.
So
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is an art thief trying to find all three of these Cleopatra eggs so he can sell them to some king for $300 million. And The Rock is trying to bring Ryan Reynolds in for justice. But at the same time, there's another art thief who's like a bigger art thief, and that's Gal Gadot. So he's using Ryan Reynolds to get to Gal Gadot so he could bring them both in. Oh, and he also has to clear his name because now Interpol thinks that he's also an art thief.
It sounds horrible. I bet Shanafan loves this movie.
I bet it's a really dumb movie. It's a definitely a turn off your brain movie, which sometimes is fine. But
Of course. I want to do a movie review show with Shanafan where we pick movies like this and we both watch them, and then I'll make him watch like The Green Knight, and I think hilariousness will ensue. It'll be very predictable. What else we got here and watch this, boys? Some TV shows. We finished The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. That's the Mike Flanagan show.
Been talking about it.
Finally finished it. Much, much scarier than Midnight Mass. So if you're interested in checking out either of those shows, this one is actually scary. Very well done. Highly recommend it. Again, what makes these shows good, it's about the characters. It's not just about like trying to have jump scares and cool special effects. It's pretty cool, but depressing. It's depressing. If you're not looking for a depressing type of haunted house situation, stay away from Haunting of Hill House. We also started watching My Name on Netflix. This is a Korean drama. It's a Korean mafia / police drama. Very similar storyline to The Departed. But if you like watching an Asian woman kick the living shit out of men with awesomely choreographed fight scenes, like it reminds me of The Raid, like just really hardcore, or like the good scenes in Daredevil, in the Marvel series Daredevil. My Name has that. We watched the first 3 episodes. Every episode has had a kick-ass fight scene where this woman just fucking unloads on like a group of guys, and it's pretty well done. Korea's got good stuff. I didn't realize. Squid Game has opened my eyes.
Well, I finished watching The History of Late Night. I finished up that series.
That's not Korean.
It's not Korean, but it was very good.
I think the Korean version of that's better. It's all about the Korean late night shows.
Yeah, I learned a lot about late night that I did not know. Also, it was really interesting to watch the Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno episode, which in many ways is probably more interesting than the Jay Leno, David Letterman stuff, which also is really interesting.
Yeah,
and that's all. They have an episode on each one of those things. Gets its own episode, so I highly recommend that series. I thought it was really good. So
I remember all that shit going down. They used to talk about it on Howard Stern all the time because Howard was really interested in the late night wars. So
it's really interesting stuff. Yeah. It's amazing what happened, how people got away with it. What people did, how big of a douchebag Jay Leno was, and I don't know, I guess is. It's pretty crazy. Like what they did to Conan O'Brien at NBC was so shitty. I know he walked away with like $50 million.
He came out all right.
Yeah,
but his ego is fucked probably, and
the TBS show that he did for a decade, was a really good show
that nobody watched.
I mean,
on YouTube, they watched it on YouTube probably.
It got a lot of YouTube bits, but I really like that show, and I'm sad it's over.
Yeah,
but what I was gonna say, but what Conan has that Jay Leno probably doesn't is that is a legacy. Because people talk about Conan, people are like, "Oh, who are your influences?" And people will say Conan O'Brien. You never see anyone say, "Oh, well, my biggest influence was Jay Leno." It's just not that's like just not a thing.
I have not heard that. That is true. I can agree with that so far.
But I hear a lot of comedians and other podcasts who say that their biggest influence was Conan O'Brien. So
makes sense.
All worked out.
Yes,
for Jay Leno.
Yeah,
I guess it worked out okay for Jay Leno.
Yeah, Jay Leno has
worked out great for everybody. Everybody involved,
financially at least.
Yeah, it worked out fantastic. I finished watching Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, how was that?
It's good. Did you finish that?
Yes.
Everybody finished it.
Yep.
Good job.
We loved it.
We all got to the end of it.
Yeah. Ready for season 2.
Yeah.
And some Watch This Boys news. Did you know that there's a special recut of Rocky IV coming out? Recut by Sylvester Stallone himself.
Isn't it already out? I thought it came to theaters.
It's out. Yeah. I guess it's out now, but there was a review posted recently, so I didn't realize it was out.
I knew that it was coming to theaters, like one night only or something.
I don't know how to watch it now at home. I'm assuming there's going to be a way to do that, but they cut out the scene with the robot, with Paulie's robot.
Yes, everyone knows they cut out the robot.
But that's his whole, isn't he has one other line in the movie, right?
Who's watching a Rocky movie for Paulie?
I mean, I don't know.
Happy birthday, Paulie. Like a little bit like cutting out the Ewok celebration. I don't know. This feels weird.
Yeah, it was like his big scene. It was Paulie's big scene.
Right.
He doesn't have much to do other than interact with the robot.
Why was that cut? What, do we have a reason?
They thought it was silly. I think this cut is supposed to be more serious, right? And
This is
Yeah.
the
I never
dark,
thought
gritty
that was-
Rocky
It was
Four.
like there's like a tweet that Sylvester Stallone actually made about it. I
Yeah.
saw it like a couple of days ago. I was like, I don't like the robot.
find
I
that
like
shit.
this bit.
But the robot, like, I remember, first of all, that movie,
Robot.
I remember seeing that movie in the theater, and it was like actually like culturally important at the time because like the Cold War was such a, was a real thing. And people were really like, go USA, boo Russia, like in the movie theater. And I think it was
they
the
all came together at the end.
that part was really dumb.
Did people in your movie theater didn't like it? You guys didn't all hug? at the end?
Rocky.
It's like,
Rocky.
if you think about it, like the whole movie is Russia versus USA. USA is great. Russia's like literally cheating through the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
fucking
Did you not feel like you could change
Steroids.
at the end of that movie?
And Rocky's like, yeah, if I could change and you could change, we could all change. But the reality
That was
is,
a pretty good Sylvester Stallone impersonation.
I was rushing through it. I'm not trying to do it. I'm not trying. I could do a good one. Probably.
You could change.
I could do. Ask me, and what are those results?
And what are those results?
Well, definitely he hits, he destroys.
Your Stallone was better.
So like the whole thing was based on like, Russia sucks. They're literally cheating. But then at the end, like when the Russian crowd starts cheering for Rocky, it's like, oh, what? They're just like all of a sudden like they realize like America's great. And like, we're just going to be like, fuck it. Like we're going to just cheer for Rocky. Like, it's like such like American exceptionalism. Like for no reason. It's just like, well, he's the underdog. And I guess everybody loves America. They do have Superman.
Yes.
Anyway, maybe they fixed that in the new cut. Maybe there's more of a reason why we see the crowd going on to
I hope
Rocky's
there's more
side.
drama.
Drago just
Shire.
kills Rocky. Is that what happens in the recap?
Yes. I will crush you. I crushed him. Credits.
Right. And by the way, whatever he hits, he doesn't destroy.
I crushed. He's crushed.
He wasn't. He
like
was a fine.
soda can.
Right. I didn't even think the robot scene was silly. I thought like it just showed like how successful Rocky was. That he could have.
I thought that was the point. Was like how stupid successful he was.
Yeah.
That,
He's buying shit that doesn't even exist for his brother-in-law.
right.
Like even as when did that movie come out? I don't know how old I was, but even I put that together back then. I was like, wow, this guy has more money than he knows what to do with. He's just buying shit that doesn't, like fucking making robots and giving them away. Anyway, I'll still watch it though. First CD I ever bought,
Rocky
by the
4
way.
is great.
First CD I ever bought, Rocky 4 soundtrack.
That's solid.
Not Eye of the Tiger. That's the name of the theme song in it, right? Not Eye of the Tiger. It's not what it's called.
Might be on the soundtrack, is it?
Not Eye of the
They
Tiger.
might just
is
throw
not
it on there. No, for fun.
Living in America is on the soundtrack to Rocky 4.
Yep, that was James Brown's biggest hit, I think, ever.
Yeah. It's his only like top 10, not top 10,
Right.
maybe only number 1, something weird like that.
See, my first CD was White Men Can't Jump soundtrack.
Is it Burning Heart? Is that the name of the song from Rocky 4?
Yes, of course. Rocky 4.
Yeah, Rocky 4.
There's a lot of songs. What are you talking about? You're making it sound like there's one song. There's a million songs.
And then the rest are all Frank Stallone. It's
we-
the one
no.
Survivor
Are we
song.
are we
It's the
transitioning
one
into the
James
compilation album?
I don't have the
part of
CD handy.
podcast?
I can tell it to you. I don't need to look it up. I know all the tracks on there.
And the rest are Frank Stallone.
It's got a lot of keyboard
It's
stuff
got
on
such hits as "My Brother Gave Me This Album," and
It's not on there at
like
I wouldn't have
"Please
bought it.
Sly, Don't Cut Me Out of the Soundtrack" is another one of the songs.
Hearts on
that
Fire,
Frank
Burning Heart, Training Montage, War, Living in America.
That's a collector's item, Ship. Kids Bop 2.
All right, let's get out of Watch This Boys. We're done. We're done with Watch This Boys.